Welcome to Scott's Take. We're in person. We're vaxxed up. Scott Friedman here in the DMV. What's up?
What is going on? I feel like Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter here, Dave. Like, this is awesome. This is completely awesome.
In person. Get your fucking shot, okay? And you can hang out and do this stupid shit. So, Scott, what's up, man? Who won the San Francisco 49er get-in vote? Or get-in guess?
You know, that was a hell of a contest I put out. I can't believe I risked $1,000. I was literally shitting in my pants because I thought I had to pay $1,000 because John literally was at 107. It turned out to be 109. $2 away, I would have had to pay out $1,000.
So no winner.
No winner. Save me $1,000.
Scott's gonna buy me and Fish lunch later now.
I got lunch.
He saved $1,000. It's awesome. So give me some key takeaways from what is this week three of the NFL, week 4 of college football, right? With that stupid week 0 thing that they did.
For college.
So give me some takeaways. Give me some action.
You know, great takeaways from this past weekend. Obviously, in the National Football League, a lot healthier than college football. NFL with Las Vegas, though, the Las Vegas Raiders is a complete train wreck. When you have a quarter of your stadium up for sale 48 hours prior to the event, something went wrong there. Something went fishy. And I'm going to figure it out, Dave. It's going to take me some time, but I'm going to figure it out why there was over a quarter of the stadium on Ticketmaster 48 hours before kickoff.
So now Scott's Take has gone from just hot takes to investigative journalism. It's great. What else? You were following what, the Ohio State football?
Yeah,
they didn't sell out.
Ohio State football. So here's the thing, Dave. You bring up a fantastic point here, right? Ohio State, one of the biggest brands in college football, 10 years ago, wanted no part about sales, marketing ideas, etc. 10 years later, they had their lowest crowd ever for the Tulsa game, 75,000 announced attendance, lowest crowd like in 50, 60 years at the Horseshoe. And now they are panicking. They can't sell. They can't fill the stadium. And yeah, they're going to blame COVID-19. Yeah, that's part of the cause. But they just have not been proactive in their sales and marketing strategy. And look where they're at now, scrambling to sell tickets, scrambling to have a right ticket distribution plan, being closed-minded, not having premium areas in the Horseshoe. The Horseshoe is like from 1920. They have no premium areas. It's like sitting in a bleacher, 100 years old. It's getting old, and fans do not want that experience anymore.
Not a great experience. And that's sort of the lesson from all around college football is that the business models were a little stagnant, right?
Right.
The business models have not kept up always with the times. Mm-hmm. And that's led to a challenge that I know that you and I share in common that we love, which is discounting. Mm-hmm. And so tell me what you've seen with pricing as far as college football has been going so far, or just the NFL in general. Because I have some thoughts about pricing, but you know I'm going to leave it to you because this is a hot take for Scott's Takes right here.
You guys know how I feel, and Dave brings up a great point. Unfortunately, there is companies in the collegiate space or athletic departments that are all about putting their tickets up for consignment. So that means that you have an outside company list your tickets, no risk on their part, basically to sell a few extra tickets. So an athletic director is mine, or athletic director of external relations says, oh, you know what, he's selling extra tickets, we're getting the data on some of these sales. But you're actually doing the opposite. You're ruining your ticketing ecosystem and you're driving your market down. How stupid can you be? And these administrators just keep going back and back to these practices. And it's a big reason why there's no demand for college football right now, because you have companies literally crashing markets, just trying to sell as many tickets as possible and infecting the brand integrity of season ticket holders and people who buy tickets in advance.
The big thing that people need to understand when they're talking about pricing for tickets is post-price perception. And that's you test and study what the market feels after they bought the ticket.
Right.
And you understand what the perception is of the value that they receive from buying the ticket. But perception is really the big key term. So you want to make sure that when you're pricing something, especially a ticket, that it meets the perception of the market, right? That it meets people's expectations of what they're going to get from a game, what they can expect. Is the experience going to be worth their time and energy? And discounting is one of the number one ways. Not one of the number one ways. It is the most just awful way that you can do to undermine the perception, the brand equity you have in your market. It's just an awful practice. And to start out by undermining your brand equity is just wrong, and you got to stop it. So
Absolutely.
price perception is most important. Now, final hot take before we turn this thing off and we get on with our day. Number 4, what's your state of mind about the world of tickets right now? Give me some Scott's hot take predictions on what we're going to see over the next, let's say this is end of September, October, start of the fourth quarter. 4, right? What's going to happen in the fourth quarter and beyond in the world of tickets? Tell me about it.
You know, that is a loaded question, Dave, but
Only the toughest questions.
only the toughest question this guy's asked me. Now, on his podcast, like, he literally put me on the hot seat, and I was struggling. And I'm struggling now because this guy knows everything, and I'm just kind of learning.
Filibustering there with the price thing to give you a chance to think up some hot takes.
You know, now is the time in the world, and there's so many unknowns with COVID-19, the variants, and we're heading into flu season, but I think the United States government, I don't think we're going to have a shutdown anymore. And let's pray for that, because that would just ruin the live event industry if that happened again. But what's the key for this to happen is, and people just use COVID as an excuse, this and that, why ticket sales are down, and that's absolutely false. Like, if you're going to make an excuse that COVID is driving your sales down and you don't have a proper strategy and you're just doing things your way as always and not being able to challenge the status quo, things aren't going to look up for you. So I think, just like in any business, Dave, the people in professional, collegiate, and live entertainment venues, rights holders, that think the most outside the box, know their markets, price their tickets right, don't discount, don't panic, will be most successful in Q4 and in the future. And I just think that there's so many folks, though, unfortunately, in college athletics and Major League Baseball are so close-minded that they're just going to struggle. And it's going to enforce a bankruptcy. I believe a Major League Baseball team in specific will file for bankruptcy. An owner will file for bankruptcy by 2026, like I said in your podcast. Because they don't know what they're doing.
Logo for this, like a little cryon now, because that's a hot take.
That's a hot take,
That
right?
is a very hot take.
You heard it from me.
That's awesome.
What else do we got before we go? What are your thoughts, Dave? Like, what do you
I
think?
didn't know how we were going to edit that, but I guess Mike will fix it however.
Yeah, he'll fix it.
See, I didn't know if we would just keep going or roll through. Okay.
So you want me to ask one more question?
Go right ahead.
All right. So, Dave, back to you. What is your prediction in the ticketing universe heading into Q4? And let's say 5 years out. What's going to be in ticketing?
So Q4, right? So number 1, I'm going to give you 3 things that we're already seeing from the return of live entertainment, right? No measurable strategy, right? Which means that people haven't spent the time thinking about, what choices they're going to make, where they're going to focus their attention, and the actions they're going to take that are going to deliver on that strategy. So CFA, choice, focus, action. That doesn't seem to be anything that people are paying attention to right now. It's a lot of tactics, a lot of just throw everything out there with no real thought for brand equity, brand value, pricing integrity, any of those things. That's something that we're definitely seeing. Number 2, we're seeing that, and the data holds up for this, that people are still reluctant to go to events, right? At the beginning of the summer, we were YOLO, and now we're a little bit like, oh, hold on a second, right? We'll back it up.
Right.
And that's having an impact on people's ability to sell tickets because people are still a little bit uncomfortable. Number 3, we're seeing that people's habits have changed. The things that they like, they desire, they want, they find valuable. That's all changed, and that's changing the way that people are buying experiences, buying tickets, buying anything. So those 3 things are the basis for everything that I think is going to happen, or that I want to see happen. So I guess we'll go 2 ways. We'll say, what do I think is going to happen? What do I hope happens? So what do I think is going to happen? I think the market's going to continue to crash, right? I think that the pricing was not, there's no research done around the pricing. The pricing really is not consistent with the value in the world that we live in now. And in a lot of cases, that's going to create harm. That's going to create markets that don't hold up to the pricing that they've created for them. Customers are going to turn their back and go do something else. The value doesn't meet what they're charging. So that's number 1. We're going to see those markets continue to have the struggle and have challenges. Number 2, we're going to see that people's habits have changed, and that's going to have an impact on what people buy, right? The ratings for a lot of stuff have been down, right? Throughout the pandemic, the ratings for Major League Baseball were down, for college football, I believe, was down. The NBA has been down on a downward trend for a decade, I think.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, so
NBA's in trouble.
These things are big challenges, and people's habits have changed, right? They've changed the value system. They've changed everything they wanted. That's going to have to be dealt with. And it's not going to be dealt with by going, man, Scott really loves the NHL. How do I get more Scots? Right, well,
I hate hockey. I mean, I worked in hockey. I just don't like hockey.
see, I love the NHL. That's a little known fact.
It's so boring to watch on TV, Dave, though. I mean,
In person, it's the most amazing
in person
sport
is better.
ever.
That's what I used to sell. Come in person.
Yeah, exactly. But getting people like Scott or Dave who loves to go to I love to go to the NHL. You can't do it by looking at me. You got to look at the customers outside of you, and people aren't going to do that, and that's going to cause a challenge. And then the third thing is, again, I think there's going to be businesses just like you're seeing in Italy or in Spain or in England, right? I forget Derby County, Wayne Rooney. They're in receivership right now. You're going to see, like we talked about before, there's going to be a organization or a business that's going to fall down around on itself. Going to have to refinance its debt. Going to go into bankruptcy or something of that nature because the business fundamentals aren't going to hold up. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, what do I want to see? This is the much more optimistic thing. Yes, I do optimism better than I do pessimism, I think, Scott. So optimism, right? I hope that people will finally get the wake-up call and they will put strategy before tactics. Strategy starts with diagnosis. It means looking at your market, doing your research, setting yourself a strategy, and then living that strategy through your tactics. I hope that people will spend some time getting to know their customer again, right? It's a fancy big business school term called marketing orientation, which really means just go out and talk to people, right? Big and small groups, right? You do surveys, you do focus groups, you grab somebody, you buy them a beer, and you ask them how their time is at the stadium. I hope that that's going to happen because it'll tell you a lot of valuable stuff. And then number 3 is I hope people innovate, right? Because innovation is really just about not huge innovations, right? Like the iPhone, people think about the iPhone or the iPad or some of these things that go for it. Most of the time it's little stuff, right? It's like just improving the way somebody comes into a game, right? Making it easier for somebody to buy a ticket. Make it more fun for somebody to go to a game, to go to a show, to go to the theater, right? It's little stuff that adds up over time, and then the next thing you know, you've transformed the entire experience. And I hope that happens because, again, people have been going to events, they've been going to games, they've been going to the theater for thousands and thousands of years. They're not going to stop.
Right.
The thing is, though, is it'll probably change. It'll probably be different. And the thing is there will be winners and losers.
Always.
And the winners, yeah, exactly. There always are winners and losers. And the winners are always the people who can adapt most quickly and most completely, and they do it most rapidly. And that's what I hope to see happen, is that people adjust, they adapt, and they become comfortable with change. Because you got 2 choices. You can either let change happen to you, or you can embrace it and try to use it to your advantage.
This guy's on point here. Dave is on point, one of the most respectful guys in the industry. I admire him so much. He's a mentor to me. And I'll let you say my tagline before we sign off and grab a nice, healthy lunch.
Keep it lean and clean, kids. Keep it lean and clean. Look at this guy.
Working on it.